Hello and welcome everyone to the Polity Primer series of Drishti IAS English. I am Pragya with you today. So in our today's session of Polity Primer, we are going to discuss yet another important constitutional amendment. The title of our today's discussion is the 105th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2021. In this discussion, we are firstly going to study about what is the 105th Constitutional Amendment. Then we are also going to examine why was the amendment required. Then we are also going to see the constitutional changes that have been introduced in our Indian Constitution through this amendment. And lastly, we are going to discuss some of the important questions from the perspective of your prelims examination. So if I talk about the background of our today's topic, 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act gave a constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes. It also stated that the socially and educationally backward classes can only be identified by the President of India. So by the wordings of the functions and the role of National Commission of Backward Classes, it became clear that only the President of India had the power to notify who falls into the category of socially and educationally backward classes. And this 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act was in major controversy in the Maratha quota case. In the Maratha quota judgment, the Supreme Court relied on the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act and stated that the states do not have the power to identify classes under the socially and educationally backward classes after the enactment of the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act. And this led to the 105th Constitutional Amendment Act enactment by the Indian Parliament. So, this brings us to the important point of our today's discussion, that what is the 105th Constitutional Amendment? So, the 105th Constitutional Amendment was notified on August 19, 2021 after it received the assent of the then President Shri Ramnath Kovind, and it is aimed at restoring the states their power to identify the socially and educationally backward classes, also known as the SEBCs. The amendment became necessary to undo the effect of the Supreme Court judgment in the Maratha quota case, and this amendment is again a milestone in ensuring reservation policies for the socially and educationally backward classes. Moving forward, let us examine what led to the 105th Constitutional Amendment. So, as I explained that yes, the Supreme Court in the Maratha quota judgment stated that the states have no power to identify the socially and educationally backward classes after the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, so through the 102nd Constitutional Amendment, the Parliament created the National Commission for Backward Classes, and it vested it with the power to be consulted by the centre as well as states in all matters concerning the socially and educationally backward classes. Moving forward, to grant the Commission similar authority as the NCSC or the National Commission for Scheduled Caste and the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, Parliament adopted the language mirroring the provisions for the SC/ST Commission. Okay, so NCBC also has the same function as the NCSC and the NCST, and this was ensured by the Parliament through the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Consequently, Article 342 Clause A of our Indian Constitution stipulated that the President, in consultation with the governors, would announce a list of the SEBCs for each states and union territory, referred to as the central list, and once established, only Parliament would be able to amend this central list, and that is why the Supreme Court stated, heavily relying on this provision, okay, that the states do not have any kind of power to identify the SEBCs or the socially and educationally backward classes after the enactment of the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Moving forward, let us examine the constitutional changes that have been introduced in our Indian Constitution through the 105th Constitutional Amendment Act. Firstly, it added a proviso to section 342 clause A, stating that the NCBC has only the power to consult the central government and not the state government. And then in clause 1 of this article, for the words the socially and educationally backward classes, which shall for the purposes of this constitution, the words socially and educationally backward classes in the central list, okay, were substituted. So now the president became entitled to identify the socially and educationally backward classes in relation to the central list only. Moving forward, it also added an explanation to clause 2 of article 342 clause A, and it states that for the purposes of clause 1 and clause 2, the expression central list means the list of socially and educationally backward classes prepared and maintained by and for the central government. That means the states and the union territories regained their power to maintain their separate list of the socially and educationally backward classes. And this was clarified by clause 3, that it is a non-obstante clause, that nothing which is contained in clauses 1 and 2 will suppress the power of the states and union territories to have their own list of the socially and educationally backward classes. Then it also added an clause 2 article 366 of the Indian Constitution, and the clauses clause 26C, which defines the term socially and educationally backward classes. And these classes mean such backward classes as are so deemed under article 342A for the purposes of central government or the state or union territory, as the case may be. So now utilizing these 105th Constitutional Act changes, the Marathas in the Maharashtra gained reservation by the Maharashtra government, and this Amendment Act was enacted to restore the power of the states to have their own list of the socially and educationally backward classes. With this, we come to a conclusion of our today's discussion. We have seen the 105th Constitutional Amendment Act. We have also analyzed that what exactly led to the constitutional amendment, and we have also examined the constitutional changes. Now let us discuss a practice question which I asked you in my previous session. So the question was, consider the following statements. Your statement number 1 is Article 334 of the Constitution deals with the time period to cease reserving seats for SCs, STs and Anglo-Indians. Your statement number 2 is the reservations were only for the period of 10 years initially. So which of the statements given above are correct? Your options are: option A is 1 only, option B is 2 only, option C is both 1 and 2, and option D is none of the above. So your correct answer is going to be option C. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Now let us discuss some of the important questions from our today's session. So the question is, consider the following statements. So your statement number 1 is, 105th Amendment Act restored the power of the state governments to identify backward classes. Your statement number 2 is Article 342 Clause A was amended by the 105th Amendment Act. So which of these statements given above are correct? Or your option A is 1 only, your option B is 2 only, your option C is both 1 and 2, and option D is none of the above. So your correct answer is going to be option C. Both of these statements are correct. Now let us discuss our last question of our today's discussion. So the question is, consider the following statements. Your statement number 1 is, 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act 2018 provides constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes, or the NCBC. Your statement number 2 is, National Commission for Backward Classes should be consulted on policy matters, will not apply to the state lists of SEBCs. So which of these statements given above are correct? Your options are: option A is 1 only, option B is 2 only, option C is both 1 and 2, and option D is none of the above. And this answer will be given by you to me in the comment box below. I hope this session was insightful for you. If you have any feedback regarding this session, you can drop it in the comment box below. If you liked today's discussion and found it to be helpful, kindly like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting updates. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.